昨天晚上我们最近读经在读以弗所书。
Recently, we've been studying the book of Ephesians.
昨天晚上我们查考以弗所书的第6章。
Last night, we studied Ephesians chapter 6.
那今天下午我们来看以弗所书的第5章。
This afternoon, let's look at Ephesians chapter 5.
我们来看以弗所书的第5章。
Ephesians chapter 5.
第1节。
Verse 1. Therefore, be imitators of God as dear children.
第2节。
Verse 2, and walk in love as Christ has also loved us and given himself for us, an offering and a sacrifice to God for sweet-smelling aroma.
这个第1节讲要效法神。
Verse 1 tells us to be imitators of God.
效法神就是把神当作我们的一个榜样。
To imitate God means that we follow God as an example.
然后我们不断的调整自己，到最后能够把神的样式表现出来。
And we adjust and calibrate ourselves so that God's likeness can be manifest in our lives.
这就是基督徒努力的目标。
This is the goal to which Christians strive.
那从第2节开始就在提到效法神的具体在生活上要做什么。
And in verse 2, it talks about a concrete way in which we may imitate God in our lives.
那第1节说，好像蒙慈爱的儿女一样。
And that we should do so as dear children.
那既然用儿女，就是表示神是我们的父亲。
As children, that means that God is our Father.
所以我们到最后就是要把父亲的样式在生活中表现出来。
And in the end, we want the likeness of our Father to be shown and demonstrated in our lives.
约翰福音第1章说，从来没有人看见神。
In John chapter 1, it says that no one has ever seen God.
但是父怀里的独生子将神表明出来。
Except through God's only Son, through whom God may be seen.
所以主耶稣来世界，把神表现出来。
And so when Jesus came to the earth, he showed us God's nature.
那现在我们受洗就是主的儿女。
And so today we are baptized, and so we have become God's children.
同样我们也没有看到神。
And by the same token, we have not yet seen God.
但是我们要把神在我们生活中表现出来。
But we want to demonstrate God's likeness in our lives.
所以一个人到教会来慕道。
So when a person comes to church to seek the truth,
神看不见。
God cannot be seen.
那第一个就要看这些在拜神的人到底有没有什么不同。
But what can be seen are the people who worship God, and if there's anything that differentiates them from others.
如果到教会来看到这个拜神的人确实是不一样。
If those who come to church see that God's worshipers are indeed different.
怎么不一样？就是在他的身上可以看到神的特性。
And in particular, that they can see the unique characteristics of God in their lives.
那神的特性是好的。
And that these differentiating factors are good.
那他就知道你们所拜的这个神一定是好的。
Then those who come to visit will understand that truly the God that you worship is good.
但是如果来到教会看到我们这些拜神的人没有什么特别不一样。
But if those who come to church and see that God's worshipers are no different from others,
他就觉得信跟不信也一样。
then they may feel that it's irrelevant whether or not they believe or not.
因为这些拜神的跟我们也差不多。
Because those who worship God are more or less the same like us.
所以我们生活的改变就是要让人知道拜神是好的。
And so when we bring about transformation in our lives, it tells other people that it is good to worship God.
你在敬拜神这一群人身上，你就可以看到不同，那个不同是好的。
And that when you see the body of the worshipers of God, you'll see that they're different and that these differences are good.
好，那我们现在就看第2节开始要怎么改变。
Let's start reading in verse 2 to see how we can change ourselves.
这个第2节要讲要凭爱心行事。
Verse 2 begins by encouraging us to walk in love.
那榜样是基督爱我们，为我们舍了自己。
And the example set before us is as Christ has also loved us and given himself for us.
所以我们要凭爱心行事，那个榜样就是 主耶稣在世界的生活。
And so when we walk in love, the example that we can follow is how Jesus lived his life when he was on the earth.
那他的具体表现就是为我们舍了自己。
And the very concrete way in which he showed his love is that he had given himself as a sacrifice.
你看，我们每一个人在地上都为自己。
All of us on this earth, we live for ourselves.
那如果愿意舍弃自己的好处，常常就是因为爱。
And the times in which we give up our own self-interest is usually out of love.
所以你看，很多的父母选择生孩子，其实这个里面有很多的牺牲，很多的麻烦。
So when, for instance, parents decide to have children, a lot of sacrifice and actually inconvenience is brought about by this decision.
那这个本身就是爱。
But the willingness to do so is out of love.
所以主耶稣来世界，
So when Jesus came to this world,
从天上变成人，下来成为人，
he came from the heavens to this earth and became a human being.
再往下降成为仆人，洗我们的脚。
And he lowered himself to be a servant to wash our feet.
再往下降成为罪人，为我们钉在十字架。
And he further demoted himself to be a sinner, to be crucified on the cross.
那这个舍弃就是代表神的爱。
And this kind of sacrifice represents God's love.
所以我们在信仰生活要效法神，就是效法主耶稣的爱。
And so in our life of faith, when we want to imitate God, we need to imitate Christ's love.
那具体的表现就是我们能够为着爱神舍掉一些我们很喜爱的生活方式，我们很喜爱的东西。
And so a concrete way in which we can imitate God is by giving up the things that we prefer or are convenient for us in order to love God more.
那这一种的爱神的生活，在神看起来，他觉得怎样？
And so when we live a life that shows our love to God, how does it look from God's perspective?
所以第二节我们如果看最后一句话，舍了自己当作馨香的供物和祭物献给神。
If we see the second part of verse 2, it says that we are offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet smelling aroma.
所以在旧约时代他们要献牛羊。
In the Old Testament, the people of God sacrificed livestock.
那新约时代献什么？
In the New Testament, what kinds of things are sacrificed?
这里讲有一个馨香的供物献给神。
Here it talks about an offering that is given to God.
那个就是我们舍弃自己爱别人这个生活，在神的面前就是一个供物。
And so when we give of ourselves and love those around us, it is like a sweet smelling aroma to God.
所以如果我们看希伯来书，
If you look in the book of Hebrews,
希伯来书的13章，
Hebrews chapter 13,
希伯来书13章
Hebrews chapter 13,
15节、
verse,
16节。
verse 15 and verse 16.
请
Therefore, by him let us continually offer the sacrifice of praise to God, that is the fruit of our lips, giving thanks to his name. 16. But do not forget to do good and to share, for with such sacrifices God is well pleased.
好，这个地方讲第一个就是常常以颂赞为祭献给神。
So in verse 15, it reminds us that we should continually offer praise to God.
所以其实神不缺乏什么，他什么都有。
Actually, God doesn't lack anything. He has everything he needs.
那神要我们的心，
But what he desires is our hearts to
所以
turn to him.
从心里向神感谢跟赞美，这就是神喜悦的。
So when we praise and thank God from the depths of our heart, this is pleasing to God.
那16节讲行善和捐书的事，这是神喜悦的。
And verse 16 says, to do good and to share, for with such sacrifices God is well pleased.
那行善那个善就是回到以弗所书的第5章的第2节。
And so when it says to do good, that sends us back to chapter 5, verse 2 of Ephesians.
就是我们爱神爱人这种牺牲这个叫做善。那这个就是我们的供物，神喜悦的。
And so to love God, to love those around us, to give ourselves to them, to self-sacrifice ourselves, that is an offering that's pleasing to God.
好，那从第3节开始
Now from verse 3,
就在提到有一些生活方式，我们还没有信主以前，我们很喜欢。
It describes certain types of lifestyles that we might have had before we came to believe in Christ and that we preferred.
那我们今天信耶稣、爱神啊，那这些生活方式神不喜欢，所以我们就要把它牺牲，把它拿掉。
But today, because we love God, we believe in Christ, then we step away from these and remove these types of lifestyle.
所以如果我们看那个第3节，请你读。
Let's read verse 3. But fornication, all uncleanliness or covetousness, let it not even be named among you, as is fitting for saints.
这个地方最后一句话说，方徒和圣徒的体统。
Here it reminds us that about what is fitting for saints.
谁是圣徒？
What is a saint?
我
Who
们
is a
受
saint?
洗过罪得洁净，在神面前我们就是圣徒。
If we have been baptized and our sins have been cleansed, then in the presence of God, then we are saints.
那这个圣徒就是我们人对基督徒都有一个期待。
And so, as saints, everyone has an expectation of Christians.
就是他的身上能够显出圣洁的榜样，能够显出神的样式。
And the expectation of Christians is that they live a holy life and demonstrate God's holiness.
所以中文这个翻作圣徒的体统。体统怎么翻？就是样式哈。
And so, if the Chinese version talks about having an image like a saint.
好，那我们如果看第3节的前面淫乱、污秽、贪婪连提都不可。
And the first part of verse 3 says, But fornication and all uncleanliness or covetousness, let it not even be named.
如果我们在社会上跟一些朋友常常在一起，
When we are around our secular friends,
常常他们在开玩笑的内容常常就是淫乱的、污秽的。
sometimes the punchline of their jokes are based in uncleanliness and fornication.
那对他们来讲，这个很平常。
To them, it's very commonplace.
这个变成生活的一部分。
And it's simply a part of their lives.
但是我现在信耶稣，我们就不能够参与那一种的开玩笑。
But today, since we're Christians, we shouldn't participate in those types of jokes.
因为这个不合圣徒的体统。
Because these are not appropriate according to the image of a saint.
所以如果我们再看第4节，
If we continue to read verse 4, neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor coarse jesting, which are not fitting, but rather of giving thanks.
所以这讲淫词妄语、戏笑的话都不相宜。那第5节。
Verse 5, For this you know, that no fornicator, unclean person, nor covetous man who is an idolater has any inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and God.
这个第5节讲得更严肃淫乱、污秽的、贪心在基督神的国都是无份的。
Verse 5 is very blunt in saying that no fornicator, unclean person, nor a covetous man or an idolater can have any part in the kingdom of
所以
God.
这是神不喜欢的，
These are things that are displeasing to God.
就不适合基督徒的身份。
And these are not appropriate for those who are Christians.
所以什么叫做凭爱心行事？
So what does it mean to do things out of love?
如果我们爱神，我们就会做神喜悦的事。
If we love God, we will do things that are pleasing to God.
那这些是神不喜欢的，
And so these are the things that God does not like.
所以爱神的人就不应该做这些事。
And if God does, as those who love God, we should avoid these things.
但是里面有一句话叫做贪心
Among this list is covetousness.
那为什么贪心这么严重？
Why is being greedy or covetous so severe?
因为第5节的最后，有贪心就与拜偶像一样。
Here it sort of likens being covetous as one who is an idolater, one who worships idols.
如果我们看10诫第1诫独一真神，
If we look at the 10 Commandments, the first commandment is that there is one true God.
第2诫不可以拜偶像。
And the second commandment is that you shall not worship any idols.
所以第2诫变成很严重了。
So the second commandment is actually quite, it's very serious.
但是这个地方讲贪心就是拜偶像。
Here, this list likens covetousness like you worship an idol.
这个表示在神看起来这是很严重的事情。
So this means that in God's eyes, it's a very serious matter when you are greedy.
那贪心就不合圣徒的体统。
And so being greedy or covetous is not fitting for a saint.
所以如果一个基督徒被形容说他很贪心，那他就跟基督徒这个身份是不相合的。
And so if a Christian is described as a person who is greedy, it's really not in keeping or not consistent with a Christian-like nature.
那下面一个问题就是，那什么叫做贪心？
And so the next question that comes to mind is what does it mean to be greedy or covetous?
如果从圣经里面看起来，贪心有好几个定义。
And if you look in the Bible, there are quite a few definitions or descriptions of what it means to be greedy.
第一个就是不以正道取财来得到钱财，不是正规的方法得到钱财。
One example of greed is when you earn your wealth using unjust methods.
就是不合国家的法律的方法来取财。
For instance, to gain or build wealth illegally against the laws of your country.
那这个就是贪心了。
So this is one way in which you can be considered greedy.
因为圣经里面讲，我们要顺服国家的法律。
The Bible tells us that we need to submit to the laws of the country.
那第二个就是不符合圣经的原则来取财。
Another example is to build wealth in ways that are not in accordance with the Bible.
但这个标准更高。
This is actually a higher standard than simply following your government's laws.
圣经的原则就是神的原则，因为圣经就是神的话。
The standard set forth in the Bible is God's standard because God wrote the Bible.
所以如果一个人贪心他跟神的关系就会发生问题。
So if a person shows greed, it creates a problem in their relationship with God.
所以有没有说国家是合法的，但是在神的道理上是不对的？有没有这样？有。
Is there a situation in which a person is law-abiding and yet falls short of God's standard? And the answer is yes.
比方说，你到拉斯维加斯去赌博，
For example, if you were to go to Las Vegas and gamble,
这个完全是合法的。
this is completely legal.
但是要急速发财，这个是不合圣经的道理。
But if you were to do this in a way, if you were to gamble for the purpose of accumulating wealth, this is unbiblical.
所以这个不是神喜欢的。
This is not something that is favorable to God.
那还有其他，还有很多。
There are actually quite a few examples of this kind of behavior.
比方说你要开一个卖酒的店，当然这个也是合法的。
For example, if you were to open a liquor store, this is totally legal.
但是我们要开一个卖酒的店，这个是不是神喜悦的？
But if you think about opening a liquor store, is this something that is favorable to God?
圣经里面叫我们不要醉酒。
The Bible reminds us that we ought not to be drunkards.
但是如果像拿细尔人，甚至不要喝酒。
But even and furthermore, if you're a Nazarite, you can't even drink alcohol.
所以如果圣经叫我们不要醉酒，甚至不要喝酒，我们开一个店来卖酒给人喝。
If the Bible teaches us that we ought not be drunkards, furthermore, if you're a Nazarite, then you should not even drink alcohol. How does that look if you open a liquor store?
那在法律上是合法，但是在神的道理上这是不相宜的。
So even though this is legal according to the country's laws, it seems to be in conflict with the teachings of the Bible.
所以做基督徒不是说合法我就可以做。
And so being a Christian is not simply being law-abiding.
还要这是不是符合圣经的精神？
But moreover, do our deeds adhere to the spirit of the Bible and the principles of the Bible?
再来，有时候我们在赚钱有一种是投资，这是长期性的；有一种是投机，是短期的。
And so another example is as we try to accumulate wealth, we might invest for long-term plans or for short-term plans.
那这个投机性的，有时候你整个头脑都被它绑在里面。
Sometimes when people invest, it completely consumes their mental bandwidth.
有时候你睡觉也在想。
to the point where even when you're supposed to be sleeping, your mind keeps turning over your investments.
所以人的头脑里面最重要的变成你赚钱的方式，从早上到晚上，整个头脑就在想那个。
And so it's over time it becomes that your brain is constantly thinking about and prioritizing how to make money through your investments.
那个不是偶像吗？
If something consumes your mind like that, isn't that an idol in some sort?
那个超过神啊，超过神就是偶像啊。
If something is more important than God, that is an idol.
所以贪心这有很多的圣经节有很多我们可以去了解。
So when it comes to the concept of greed, there are quite a few passages in the Bible that helps us understand what it is.
圣经里面讲以撒搬到别是巴，亚伯兰的儿子搬到别是巴，他做3件事情。
The Bible describes when Isaac moved to Beersheba, he did 3 things.
第一件事情，筑一座坛，求告神的名。
The first thing he did was to build an altar and call upon the name of God.
第二件事情，支搭帐篷。
And the second thing he did was to build a tent.
第三件事情，挖一口井。
And the third thing he did was dig a well.
那这个3件事情代表我们信仰生活的3个内容。
These 3 actions represent the content of our faith.
筑一座棚就是求告神的名，就是信仰生活。
And so when the building of the altar and calling upon God's name represents our life of faith.
然后搭一座棚这个就是家庭生活，因为那个时候是住在帐篷里面。
And to build a tent, to pitch a tent represents our family life, to establish our family.
挖一口井那个时候是牧羊，他们的职业就是牧羊，所以这代表他的职业生活。
And so the digging of the well represents their livelihood, because at the time they were shepherds, and so they needed a source of water for the sheep.
所以人的生活有3大内容。
And so the content of a person's life consists of 3 things:
我们的信仰，
our faith,
我们的家庭，
our family,
还有我们的职业。
and our livelihood or career.
那什么叫做贪心？
So what does it mean to be greedy?
把信仰生活、家庭生活的时间都用来赚钱。
That we take the time that ought to be allocated for building our life of faith and our family life and use that time to build our careers.
那个不是神的旨意啊，
This is not God's will for us.
因为神的旨意是要我们有信仰生活、有家庭生活。
God's will for us is that we have a life of faith and a family life as well.
但是事实上，现在很多人为着在世界上成功、成名、发财他差不多把家庭跟他的信仰差不多全部都卖掉了。
But the reality of our lives today is often that we take all the time that we should have spent on our life of faith and our family and spent it instead on our careers and building our wealth.
所以第5节讲贪心跟拜偶像一样。
And so in verse 5, it likens being greedy or covetous to worshiping idols.
因此一个效法神的生活，就是一个爱神的生活。
And so one whose life imitates God is one who loves God.
就是要把圣徒的体统活一个人能够在我们身上看到我们是一个圣徒的样式。
And that we ought to live a life such as is fitting for a saint, that we can have the image of a saint.
那这一些原则实在是需要很大的努力才能够做得出来。
And it does take a great deal of effort for us to adhere to these principles.
因为社会的文化跟社会的传统跟圣经是不一样的。
What we experience and are exposed to in society, the culture out there is different from what's in the Bible.
所以如果不是信心很坚定有时候这个文化潮流一吹，我们就跟着走。
And so if our faith is not well rooted and established, it's easy to be swayed by the winds of the culture around us.
好，那从第8节一直到14节。
From verse 8 to 14,
这个效法神就要活出神的本性。
it describes how if we want to imitate God, we need to imitate His nature.
那神的本性是什么？
So what is God's nature?
圣经说神就是光。
The Bible says that God is light.
他住在众人所不能够靠近的光里面。
That He lives in the light that the humans cannot come close to.
那我们现在信耶稣有一个改变。
But now that we believe in Jesus, there's a change.
我们看第8节。
Let's read verse 8. For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light.
这个地方讲你们从前是暗昧的，就是还没有受洗之前。
Before we are baptized, it describes that we were once in darkness.
这个暗昧就是活在罪里面。
In darkness, we live in sin.
暗昧就是跟神没有份。
In darkness, there is no part with God.
因为神就是光嘛，跟神没有份，就是在暗昧里面、黑暗里面。
Because God is light, and if you are in darkness, there is no connection between you and God.
那现在洗礼之后，我们就是在光明里面。
But now, after baptism, you are now light in the Lord.
所以我们叫做光明的子女。
That's why it describes us as children of light.
那这个是非常好的，从黑暗进到光明。
And isn't it wonderful to be walking from darkness into light?
这个是身份的改变。
It's a change in our status.
那现在就是如果我们看第8节行事为人要像光明的子女，这个就是一个努力的目标。
And so verse 8 tells us that we should strive to walk as children of light.
也就是用我们的生活来表现我们的身份是光明的。
That we should live our lives so as to demonstrate our status as children of light.
那实际上的表现是什么？
So what is this? What are some concrete ways in which we can demonstrate that we are children of light?
如果我们看11节
Let's read verse 11.
请读。
And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them.
12节。
12. For it is shameful even to speak of those things which are done by them in secret.
13节。
Verse 13. But all things that are exposed are made manifest by the light, for whatever makes manifest is light.
所以我们从11节到13节就可以看到有3件事情我们不应该做。
From verse 11 to verse 13, it tells us of 3 actions we should not take.
12节暗中所行的就是怕别人知道。
Verse 12 describes things that are done in secret that we don't want others to know about.
我们是光明的子女，我们做的任何一件事情，谁要知道都可以。
We are children of light, so whatever we do, it should be transparent to all around us.
只是说有一些是私事，我们不需要让别人知道。其实如果别人知道，我们也没有关系。
Perhaps there might be some things that you feel are private to yourselves, but if it turns out other people know about them, it shouldn't be an issue.
怕别人知道，暗中做的，这个就有问题。
If there's something that you are fearful that others will know about, this is something perhaps you ought not do.
所以我们是光明的子女，我们做事情要先想，我怕别人知道吗？如果怕，就不要做。
And so as children of light, before we do take an action, we should think, if someone knows we're doing this, would we be fearful? And if so, then perhaps we should reconsider.
这是第一个。
That's the first thing.
第二个
Second.
12节
Verse 12.
提起来也是可羞耻的，就是别人知道会羞耻的，不要做。
It is shameful to even mention those things. That is, if something is shameful, if others were to know about it, we should not practice those actions.
这个羞耻从哪里来？
Where does shame come from?
羞耻从创世纪来的。
Shame, the origin of shame comes from Genesis.
神在伊甸园找不到亚当，亚当你跑去哪里？
God was walking in the Garden of Eden and couldn't find Adam, and he asked, Adam, where are you?
亚当藏起来
And Adam had hidden himself.
神说：你是不是吃了我叫你不要吃的善恶果？
And God said, Did you eat the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil that I asked you not to eat?
所以羞耻就是犯罪的结果。
So shame is the consequence of committing a sin.
因此我们在暗中所做的，如果别人知道会羞耻，这个就是不好的。
So if there's something that we are considering doing that if we've done it in secret, we will do in secret. And if others know about it, it will bring shame, then we shouldn't do this.
所以做一个基督徒光明正大别人知道也没有关系，我们也不会羞耻。
And so as a child of the light, whatever we do, whether it be secret or not, if others know about it, then we don't feel any shame.
那在11节我不知道英文有没有说，责备行这样事的人，就是会受责备。 可以，或者是13节，凡受责备的，就是被光显明出来。
And verse 13 describes that things that are exposed are made manifest by the light.
好，所以如果我们会良心不安了，这个就是受责备。
And so if we find that when we contemplate doing something and our conscience is at unease, then we should not do it.
所以你良心不安，这个就是良心在责备我们，那这个就是光明之子不应该做。
So if our conscience rebukes us or is uncomfortable with an action, then we should avoid that action.
所以这里告诉我们，我们的身份是光明之子。
So here this passage tells us that we are children of light.
要隐藏，怕别人知道的，提起来会羞耻的，良心会责备我们的，这个都不适合做。
If there's anything that we want to do in secret, anything that brings about shame, or anything that our conscience would rebuke us, then we should avoid these actions.
所以基督徒的生活其实那个标准非常的高哦。
And so actually to live a Christian life is to hold ourselves to a higher standard.
因为那个标准是活在神面前啊。
Because that standard is to live in God's presence.
到处都有神啊。
And God is everywhere.
神就活在我们里面了。
And God even dwells in us.
所以做一个真的基督徒。
So to be a true Christian
他是活在光明里面
is one who lives in the light.
好，那这个光明实际的表现是什么？
So what's a concrete manifestation of the light?
好，我们看第9节。
Let's read verse 9. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness, righteousness, and truth.
这个地方讲光明所结的果子。
So here it describes the fruit borne by those who walk in light.
这个果子就是实际上看得见的表现，叫做果子。
And so something that is concrete and can see and you can touch, you can experience directly is the fruit.
第一个是良善。
First, it describes goodness.
第二个是公义。
The second fruit is righteousness.
第三个是诚实。
And the third is truth.
你看，这个3个都是非常美好的。
You can see that these three characteristics are virtuous.
这就是我们现在社会所缺乏的。
And yet, these are the three characteristics that are lacking in our society today.
所以社会有很多的基督徒。
In society, we'll see a lot of Christians.
但是好像这些基督徒对社会的影响不大。
But it seems that these Christians are unable to positively influence the society around them.
就是因为没有结果子。
Because they don't bear fruit.
你想，每个基督徒都结果子。
If every Christian was to bear fruit such as these,
那这个社会就充满着良善、公义、诚实。
then everyone around us would be full of goodness, righteousness, and truth.
那这个社会太美好了。
Wouldn't this be a wonderful world to live in?
所以效法神就是把神的光明活出来。
And so to imitate God is to demonstrate God's light to the world.
让别人在我们身上看到神的光。
That others may see God's light through our lives.
好，那第3个表现
And the third manifestation
就
of
是
light
15节到21节。
is from verse 15 to verse 21.
这个15节到21节就是在讲智慧。
Verse 15 to 21 describes wisdom.
神就是智慧的来源。
That God is the source of wisdom.
神的话就是智慧。
And
所以敬畏神是智慧的开始。
That God's word brings about wisdom. That the knowledge of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
因此我们如果从15节一直读到18节，
So if you read from verse 15 to verse 18,
这个每一节都有一个对比。
there's a comparison and a contrast in each verse.
好的就是做基督徒应该做的，但是另外一个负面的就是社会一般人做的。
And so, on one hand, is what that one is something that should be practiced by Christians, and on the other is what is commonplace outside of in society.
所以15节要谨慎行事，不要像愚昧人，要像智慧人。
Verse 15, see then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise.
这个到底在讲什么？
What is this talking about?
我们做的每一件事情都会有一个结果。
Every one of our actions has a consequence.
所以我们现在的生活很可能是我们 5个月前、5年前我们做了某一个决定做了某一件事情，现在的结果。
So the person that we are today, the state we are in today, is very likely the sum of all the decisions we made perhaps 5 months ago, perhaps 5 years ago.
因此每一个决定都会有一个后果跑出来。
Every single decision has a consequence.
那这个谨慎行事就是我们要想，我这个决定，我现在这样的动作、生活方式，对我后来会有什么影响？
And so to walk circumspectly means to be thoughtful about your actions and think about the consequences in the short term and the long term.
那这样叫做智慧人。
And so to do so is to be wise.
不想结果，只想现在，那个叫做愚昧人。
If you don't think about the consequences, but rather think about the immediate outcome, that is what is practiced by the fools.
所以我们看那个以扫跟雅各。
So if we look at Esau and Jacob,
以扫在煮红豆汤。
when Esau was cooking lentil soup,
那雅各去打猎回来就跟他告诉他红豆汤给我吃。
when Jacob was cooking lentil soup and Esau had just hunted, he came back and said to Jacob, "Give me a bowl of the lentil soup."
那他怎么讲？这长子的名分对我有什么益处？
And Jacob asked for the firstborn right, and Esau said, "Well, what's the firstborn right good for anyway?"
所以他所顾的是现在肚子能够满足。
What Esau cared about was that his hunger was satiated.
因为我会死所以这个对我有什么益处？
If I'm going to die, then what's the point of a firstborn right?
所以为着一碗红豆汤，把长子的名分卖掉。
And so he was willing to exchange his firstborn right for a bowl of lentil soup.
在当时他不会觉得怎么样。
At the time, he didn't think anything of it.
但等到他父亲年老要祝福的时候，哇，这不同了。
But when his father became old and was ready to bless his sons, that's when the difference was felt.
所以谨慎行事就是要看他的结果。
And so when you walk circumspectly, it means to consider the consequences.
以为他不会有结果，或者以为这个结果是好的，那有时候就是愚昧。
Perhaps if we don't consider the long-term consequences at all, or misjudge and think that the consequences are good, these are the behaviors of the fools.
好，我们看16节。
Let's read verse 16.
请
Redeeming the time because the days are evil.
这里讲要爱惜光阴。
Here it reminds us to make the most of our time.
好，那下面原因是现在的世界邪恶。
And the reason for making the most of our time is because the days are evil.
那光阴是什么？就是生命。
What is time? Time is life.
生命是无价的。
Life is priceless.
所以要爱惜光阴。
So we need to treasure it.
那为什么说现在世界邪恶？
Why does the Bible say that the days are evil?
因为他把神赐给我们的生命用在很多真的不能荣耀神、对自己也没有好处的事情上。
Because people have spent the life and the time that God has given them on things that are not that do not glorify God.
那如果我们看英文爱惜光阴叫 redeem the time， 这个是很有意思的。
It's interesting that the term selected here is redeeming the time.
什么叫做 redeem the time 有时候我们拿到一个 coupon
What does it mean to redeem the time? And maybe we can think about it as if we received a coupon.
哇，这个买东西给你50% off 打折。
Maybe this coupon is for 50% off a purchase price.
那你如果没有去换，那个就是空的你要实际去换你真的就省了50%。
If you don't use the coupon, then you don't actually save any money. But if you use it, then you actually do save the 50%.
那神给我们时间很宝贵。
So God has given us time, and it's very precious.
那如果我们用得很好，
If we use it wisely,
不但对自己有好处，
not only does it bring about benefits for ourselves.
也能够造就人，
It actually helps other people,
也能够荣耀神。
and it glorifies
那
God.
个这个叫 redeem the time，
This is what it means to redeem the time.
把最宝贵的生命用来对自己有好处，对别人造就，对神能够荣耀。
That we take the precious time that we have been given to edify ourselves, edify others, and to glorify God.
这个叫爱惜光阴。
And so this is what it means to make the most of or redeem our time.
好，我们看18节。
Let's read verse 18. And do not be drunk with wine in which is dissipation, but be filled with the Spirit.
这里讲有2种酒，一种是物质的酒，一种是属灵的。
Here it describes two types of wine. One is physical wine, and the other is the Spirit.
物质的酒喝多了，让人醉酒会放荡。
And so it describes how this physical wine, it causes us to be drunk and to be filled with dissipation.
而且花钱对自己没有好处。
And so you end up spending money, but it's not for your benefit or anyone's benefit.
人为什么喝酒？
But why do people drink wine?
因为很空虚，生活很无聊。
Because they might feel empty or they might feel meaningless in
或
their
者说
life.
很多的愁苦没有办法解消，
Or maybe they have a lot of worries that they are unable to deal with.
所以要喝酒。
And so they drink.
但是如果我不喝酒，
But if we don't drink wine,
那我有什么办法？
then what can we do?
这里讲还有一条路可以走，
Here it describes another path we can take,
要被圣灵充满。
that we can be filled with the Spirit.
圣灵一充满，我们的忧伤痛苦全部都被解消了。
And when we're filled with the Spirit, all of our anxieties and our sorrows can be dealt with.
那圣灵一充满，就是神住在我们里面，我们的生命就觉得很甜美、很平安、很喜乐。
And when we are filled with the Spirit, God lives in us and we can feel the sweetness and joy of life.
就不会空虚。
Then we don't feel like it's empty.
所以要被圣灵充满，你就可以不会去醉酒。
And so if we're filled with the Holy Spirit, then we need not feel the urge or the need to be drunk.
所以效法神就是用神的智慧来做一个正确的判断，活出最有价值的生命。
And so to imitate God is to use God's wisdom to make the best decisions about our future and to glorify Him.
唱诗
Let's sing a hymn.
232首。
Let's sing hymn 232.